Good morning and welcome to today's webinar, a new topic for our series, Answers to Today's Real Estate Questions, presented by Ms. Karen Lawlor and Ms. Donna Weaver, Realtors and Seniors Real Estate Specialists with the Wendy Slaughter Team at Elevate Real Estate Brokerage. My name is Jeff Stauffer, Community Relations Director with Elville and Associates, and I'll be moderating today's event. So how does this work today? If you're new to our webinars, if you are, welcome. We're glad you're here. And if you're a returning attendee, welcome back as always. So you as the attendee are currently in listen-only mode. However, if and when you have questions, please note them in the questions panel on the right-hand portion of your screen. There's my little kitty cat since I'm working from home today. Got a couple of sick kids, sorry about that. I knew he would come up and say hi. So please note them in the questions panel on the right-hand portion of your screen or using the chat feature, and we will take all questions at the end of this morning's presentation. Your questions, as always, really help the presentation and add value. They help others learn. So please don't be shy in posing your questions at any time. Everyone will also receive a post-webinar feedback email right after the presentation. And we ask that you please just take a couple minutes to offer us your feedback about the presentation. We read and value every comment. So here at Elville & Associates, through planning and elder law techniques, our attorneys work every day with families and their loved ones with the ideals of client education, collaboration, and compassion in mind. We're always available for consultations to discuss your family's needs and look forward to being a resource to you in any way. So I have the true pleasure of introducing today's presenters who are coming back to see us a second time. They were so good, we said, please come back. So presenting will be Ms. Donna Weaver, a realtor and seniors real estate specialist, serving both her clients and her community. Donna always goes above and beyond in everything she does, whether she is carefully guiding her clients through each step of the buying or selling process or volunteering to help make a positive impact in the community. You can always count on her to put you and your best interests first. As she says, I truly love being a realtor, but it's not just what I do, it's who I am. Also presenting is Ms. Karen Lawlor, who is also a realtor and seniors real estate specialist. She has worked with top regional and national home builders, as well as premier realtors throughout Maryland to stage thousands of homes for sale. She has been chosen to design spec model homes for new construction sales. Karen keeps current on education and interior design to evolve with the changing trends and top selling features. So Donna and Karen, thank you for being here today. We appreciate your time and thank you for all you do for the communities that you serve. And I will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for having us back. We felt it was important to meet with you again as this market is rapidly changing and we're getting a lot of questions. A lot of questions keep coming up similarly with what people are wondering about the market. So we thought it'd be a good idea just to kind of jump in and see if we can review some of those commonly asked questions. But the best part is getting to your questions at the end. So feel free to jot down anything that might come to mind and we can address that at the end. And Jeff did a great job of introducing us. So thank you very much. We're senior real estate specialists, which just means that we've gotten some extra training and education on working with adults in this phase of their life, whether they're moving to independent living, assisted living, downsizing, whatever the case may be. Donna and I have a lot of resources, and a lot of those we'll cover through our presentation. We have a platinum program, which we try and make it easy for you so you don't have to go out and find all of these resources individually. We try and package it together to make things more convenient for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think, just a little bit about our team. I mean, we're mostly women. We have one gentleman named Rocky who is he claims to be our HR director. But we have an amazing team that stands behind us, and we're really proud of the work that we do and the clients that speak on our behalf. And this is why, because our business comes from referrals. So when we do a good job for our clients, they speak for us. and refer us to friends and families and coworkers. So that's how we build our business. So yeah, this is great.
Okay, so today we just wanted to talk about what's going on in the market. And like I said, we're going to answer some questions that we've been asked more recently and talk about our Platinum program a little bit. So with the market overview, I think the first thing, what people are asking us most about right now are the interest rates. You know, people are a little bit concerned. It has had an effect on the market changing right now compared to the last time we spoke to you all. And, you know, a lot of us do remember these interest rates, you know, back in the 80s when they were skyrocketing as high as 18%. But, you know, what's most interesting about this and what I would say the younger generation has gotten used to is since the COVID years, the interest rate being at like 2 and 3%. And now that they're creeping back up towards 7.7, it has slowed the market down a little bit, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, we'll talk about it from the seller point of view and the buyer's point of view. So, you know, it's still very much a seller's market. Sellers are still going to get top dollar for their home, because even though right now they might not be getting 20 offers with $100,000 over list price, all of those closed transactions are still comps for houses that are on the market right now. So this is still a really, really good time to sell your house.
Yeah.
From a buyer standpoint, it's a good time as well because there aren't as many buyers in the market.
So can I add to that, Karen? Can I?
Absolutely.
Yeah, let me just say, I mean, so the story has been, you know, the market has been very quick. Those people that have put their homes on the market have been selling in like 2 to 3 days, and neighbors are telling you, you know, we sold our house for 50, 100,000 above list price in 2 days, and they had multiple offers. Well, that has really started to change and shift in this market because of the interest rates rising and buyers kind of backing away from buying or changing. They have to change their expectations now. Inventory is still low, but sellers think, oh, I'm going to get, you know, X amount for my property because my neighbor sold theirs for 50,000 above. And I think that's where the expectation comes in. There are not as many buyers, so you may not receive as many offers, and you may want to look at getting your home more readied to cast a bigger net and appeal to more buyers. So, yeah.
Right, and we're going to dive a little bit more into that. So if you have any questions about any of that, just let us know. And this graph just, again, shows the very low inventory, which again, can make it tough when you're competing with other buyers. But again, now with the interest rates being a little bit higher, it's not as insane as it was. And it's consistent through Central Maryland. I think it's consistent throughout the nation. So what Donna touched upon is, will my house show better if I move out? What can you do to make your house show better? So here are a couple of examples here. We've got on the top, it looks like this person just, you know, maybe painted their cabinets and replaced their countertops and their flooring, obviously. So this was probably a lower end update to help sell the home quicker. The one on the bottom, I do love to talk about this one. This is a property, one of the things that we can provide for you if you do move out, depending on what your situation is. You know, typically if you're living there, as Jeff mentioned and Donna mentioned, I'm also a home stager. So if you were there, I would come in and kind of help you rearrange, you know, your furniture, wall art and accessories, help you decide what we're going to declutter and pack away. But in the event that you are moving out and it's vacant, we provide virtual staging. So in this house, the picture to the right, it's really hard to believe that this is virtual and the furniture's not there. But it really helps when buyers are flipping through listings and getting their list together of what they want to go out and see. This grabs their attention and gives them an idea on how to use the room. And the whole key is You know, the more people you get in your house, the more showings you get, the more offers you're going to get, the more competitive they're going to be, and the more money that you're going to make. Donna, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I may be jumping ahead a little bit. I just want to say, you know, buyers are looking for, you know, these days anyway, I think a lot of buyers have been looking at HGTV, you know, and they're all talking about the same things. But I always look, when I'm representing a buyer, the things that are most important are those items like how old is the roof? How old is your HVAC? How old is your hot water heater and your windows? You know, the major items that are more expensive and that run the property. That's what buyers want to know. So I always tell my sellers, you know, if you're getting your home ready for market, you know, make sure you're taking care of any of the deferred maintenance items. You don't want leaky plumbing or problems with your electrical systems and no leaking roofs. You know, those type of things are important. Even if you have older systems, it's okay. Old doesn't mean you have to replace them necessarily, as long as they're in good working condition. And then we talk about, you know, making sure that your home is decluttered and you've got clean paint and flooring, and, you know, just it presents as well as it can. Each room is a picture, and you're trying to get the attention of as many buyers as you can. So,
Right.
yeah.
Good point. Great. So I think that segues great into the second slide that we have, the second question, because this first one is really covering cosmetic, right? And that's what grabs people's eye first. And that typically is going to be the driving force of them putting an offer on your house. All right. They love the house. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. They need to live there. Now we are under contract. What's next? Next is the home inspection. All right. And this is what Donna was talking about, where, you know, a home inspection is typically, the typical home inspection is structural and mechanical. Sometimes people will add on a radon inspection or a mold inspection or some other inspections, but 90% of the time they're going for structural mechanical, which has nothing to do with cosmetic. So when Donna said, make sure that all of your systems are in good working order, this is where that's going to come up. So when the question arises, what if it says we need to make repairs? Well, you have the option, you know, for any request, you can say yes, you'll make the repair. You can say no, or you can provide subsidy for the buyers to make the repairs after they close.
Yeah, so, you know, it's interesting. I mean, so inspections, you know, range from, you know, a general inspection, which is structural and mechanical. Some people may, if you have a fireplace, they may want to do a chimney inspection. If you have a structural issue, they may want to bring in a structural engineer. What's been happening in the market and changing now is that a couple of months ago or a few months ago, buyers, it was so competitive that buyers were actually waiving inspections. So sellers were like, woo, you know, that's fantastic to be able, you know, to have somebody come forward to offer, you know, us a price on our home that we like and not even do an inspection. That was crazy. And I think that also is changing now, you know, where buyers are saying, hey, you know, you know, and of course, you know, I feel a buyer should do an inspection. They want to make sure that everything's in good working condition. Would you agree to that, Karen, that you're
Yes.
seeing less of that here?
So what Donna and I typically recommend to our clients when we're advising you to get your house on the market, when you're getting it already, basically, if you know something needs to be repaired, if you know about it, if you're aware, get it done before you list it. So at the time of home inspection, it doesn't come up and you don't have to deal with it then. A lot of times when a buyer does a home inspection and they submit the report, and they don't always ask for everything listed on the report from the home inspector, you know, you're not aware that certain things were broken and need repair. And a lot of times they're like, oh, I had no idea. Of course, I'll fix that. It's just easier to go ahead and get ahead of it if you are able to.
Oh, yeah. So
talk about this one.
So this is, this is just another idea. So once you do, take care of all of the deferred maintenance items in the home, if you're looking to, I think these are things you can do to get the biggest bang for your buck, right? They're not expensive to really do, but they make a better appearance, right? Karen, wouldn't you agree? Replacing a fixture or even a light switch, like making the light switches in your home all white and new and clean, or changing a fixture or faucet, or upgrading your lighting. These things are a nice way to update and make it look fresh and clean.
This goes a long way. Right. Again, you want to grab those buyers. Like Donna said, if everything is fresh and clean and bright, then you are likely to get more offers.
And another example might be, you at one point in time in history, you had a leak, and it came through an upstairs bathroom, and now on the ceiling there's a stain. So you want to take care of that so that people's eyes don't go to it and say, uh-oh, what's wrong?
Right.
There's no leak, it was old and it was repaired, but yet there's still signs of that, and people will question. So those are some other things you can do as well.
And we'll do the best that we can to walk through your house with you before listing it and point out what we see. Another question, what's the best strategy for deciding my list price? So, as we know, values change every time another house sells, really. So when we are trying to help you figure out your list price, we look at the active listings only to strategize, your product, what you're competing against. But the recent solds, that's the data. That is what the appraisers are looking at. So when you do get a contract on your home and it's time for that buyer to do the appraisal, we want to make sure that it fits right in there. So, if we come see you even 6 months or a year ahead of time, we can sometimes start working with clients that want to make some improvements and renovations in their home. We'll always drill down, doing those last minute research for the comps and figure out what makes sense for your house.
Right. And I think, lenders that are lending money, they're going to send out their appraiser, and the lender is only going to, lend on that appraised value. And I think, again, like what we've been seeing a few months ago, were buyers that were being so competitive, they were actually either waiving an appraisal or guaranteeing an appraisal. So if the property didn't appraise for the price that was offered, which typically it wasn't because people were going way above list price, the buyer would actually guarantee, the appraisal by a certain amount. So maybe they might say, well, we'll pay, up to $10,000 difference between the appraisal and our offer price to try to cover a gap. Or they might waive it, try to waive it all together and say, whatever the difference is, we'll make up in cash. So that's not really happening as much anymore either, right? Wouldn't you say, Karen?
Yeah, I don't know how all these buyers were having so much cash on hand to do this, but that was the only way you could do this, is when you showed the lender that you had an extra big chunk of change to throw down if that house didn't appraise for the contract price. So it's good that things are settling back down to normal, because these are all crazy. Lenders, they don't necessarily want homes being purchased way over the appraisal price, because that's when the market starts to get a little bit crazy. Like I said, that's why, if you're a seller right now, you're in a good position to sell your house, because you're on the heels of that inflated market that just closed. And this kind of, again, circles back to something Donna had said when we were talking about the home inspection. Once I make an offer, am I locked in? I actually included this question because I was just working with a woman that actually contacted me the last time we did this webinar for Elville, and we just went through a transaction and she closed on her beautiful home. And this was the question that she asked me, because it had been 40 years since she had bought or sold a house. So like Donna was saying, at the home inspection portion of the transaction, there's an opportunity. If you're the buyer, there's your opportunity to pull out. If the seller doesn't agree to the repairs that you feel are necessary and reasonable, that's one way to do it. And, you know, as agents, there are a lot of timelines in terms of the contract that we will monitor and make sure that you are staying within, so there's no issue about losing an earnest money deposit or not being able to get out of this contract if you want to. When there's condo fees and homeowner fees, there are documents, and you have a period of time to review those documents. If there's anything in there that you're not comfortable with, that's another opportunity for a buyer to void the contract. So we will just make sure that we are there to guide you with all that information. Donna, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the values that I feel that we have to offer, along with our team as well. So, you know, we're all watching out for you and making sure that this is as stress-free a transaction as it possibly can be, because, you know, inspections and negotiations can be stressful. This is a lot of money, and it's a big investment if you're a buyer. And, you know, as a seller, we're trying to do our very best to get you the best terms and the most money for your investment.
Great. And then now we'll just tell you a little bit about our Platinum program. We had mentioned earlier that, you know, Donna and I are the two senior real estate specialists in our brokerage. And this is a great program because what we do is we have connections with a lot of different vendors that anyone really may need going through this process. Whether, you know, you need to do a home renovation or just replace your carpet, an electrician, various things that come up, decluttering, sorting, moving, packing, all of that. We have all of those partners to reach out to. So you are not on the hook to go find, you know, a contractor to do a couple things or whatever the case may be. This encompasses all the help and resources in one program.
Yeah, so just to add to that, so one of the things that is very exciting for me to be able to offer to sellers with our Platinum program is, and I'm in the process of doing it right now and have been successful with it throughout the year. I have some sellers that need to, you know, move very quickly, and maybe they need to update a kitchen or a bathroom or replace carpet and paint, whatever the case may be. We have the opportunity to bring in our contractor, get all of the work done and then have the seller pay for those repairs or updates or upgrades at settlement. So it's deferred. You don't have to come out of pocket for those changes up front. You've got one vendor that manages everything so that you can get your property up on market in time, and you don't have to pay for it until settlement. So that's an option, and it's worked really well for a few of my clients, you know, that just absolutely felt like that was the best option for them.
Yeah, we have several references if you wanted to hear from anyone who's been through that program with us. I'm working on getting a listing together right now. I've got a condo, and the kitchen, I know this sounds like a lot, but it's a very big community. It's Leisure World out in Olney, and there were 80 recent sales of condos. And when I went through to pull this data for the seller, out of 80 properties, they had the least amount of updates. So the original kitchen, there were ones that had the original cabinets, but in the other listings, they had at least replaced the appliances or replaced the countertops. And this one had nothing. And when you look at the delta between what they would get just putting it on the market right now, and then we're getting some quotes right now to figure out whether it's worth it just to paint it. But absolutely swapping out those appliances, upgrading the appliances, and probably the countertops. We're looking at all that data to see what makes sense. So that's part of what we do up front, is we do all the analyzation of, if you spend 20 grand, I think you're going to get 50 in the end. So who doesn't want to make $30,000? So that's what this is all about.
Right, maximizing your return by making the improvements that are going to bring you the most bang for your buck.
Right, this is your largest asset.
And I think you do this too, Karen. Like, we try to run net sheets to show you, all the costs. So what is your takeaway if you sell at X after putting in, all of the money or whatever money you're spending on repair, or what you're going to pay in transfer and recordation taxes and commission and, so on and so forth. So we try to keep the end in mind first when we meet with our clients, so that they understand, what works best for them.
Right. Very good. And this is just a little summary about our Platinum program that, it typically starts with decluttering and organizing and donating and hauling, because when you're starting this process, you've acquired years and years of stuff, right? Maybe like your own stuff from your parents, your family that's sitting in your house, and you're not sure what to do with everything. And a lot of times there's an emotional attachment to it, and you're just not sure how to get rid of it. So in my opinion, that's where it all starts, and we have the resources to help you there. And then it kind of like the process speeds up a little bit. Then we talk about, all right, now once you kind of get that emotional component under wraps in the beginning, then it's just a matter of, as far as renovations and upgrades, carpet and flooring and stuff, that's all Donna and I know what sells. So it doesn't come down to, oh, what do you like here? Let's create a product now that's going to sell and make you as much money as possible. And then there's also that pay at settlement renovation option that Donna talked about, which is wonderful. So that's our Platinum program. Hopefully it provides less stress for you, so you can move on to whatever it is that you're going to do now. And we would just wanted to thank you again. Thank you, Jeff and Elville, for having us here. And we are here to answer any questions you have. Fire away.
Well, thanks, Karen and Donna. A lot of great information, especially in this changing environment. And so we would love to get some questions over to you. So to all of our attendees out there, now would be your time to go ahead and get those questions over to me so I can pass them on to Donna and Karen. And I see we do have a few in here already, but please go ahead and send them over to me now so I can pose them to our experts that could get those questions answered for you. So let's go ahead and get started. First question is, does converting to solar add sale value?
Donna, I think you took this one last time.
I think so. I think I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can only speak to my experience with working with buyers and sellers regarding solar. And I just want to preface, I am a believer in renewable energy. And I think it's amazing, wonderful. And the only thing that I question, again, based on my experience, is the leases that some of these solar companies offer, and just in general how they operate. Because I had a buyer client, we were buying a property that had solar, and what happened is we found out that the roof needed to be replaced. But the solar panels were fairly new, and we couldn't understand. We didn't question the age of the roof, because my client and myself have always heard that they can't put solar panels on a roof that's ready to be replaced, right? The roof has to sustain the panels. Well, in this case, the solar company put the panels up on a roof that was already past its life expectancy. So the cost for removing those panels, the seller said, oh, well, it's no big deal. They just removed the panels and, we put a new roof up, it's not going to cost that much money. Well, come to find out, not only the cost of the roof was expensive, but the cost to remove the panels and put the panels back up was extremely expensive. And that was not stated in the contract to the sellers when they purchased the solar. So do solar panels add value? It depends. That's my answer, because it depends on the lease that they have, how many years left on the lease. I think it would be great if the panels were actually owned, so you didn't have to worry about taking on a lease.
I agree.
Hopefully that answers your question.
Well, thank you. I think that's a case with a lot of things in life. It depends on a lot of things.
Right, it depends.
But no, a lot of great information there. Another question: how do I assess the cost trade-off of some big ticket items like replacing an old concrete driveway or refinishing all wood floors? I think you alluded to that, but if you have any further comments, please.
Yeah, sure. So I've seen, being in this business, we see home inspection reports over and over and over again. And that's one of the things that does come up actually on home inspection reports, are like cracks in the driveway. I guess that, could be considered a structural issue. So a lot of times buyers do ask for that to be repaired. And finishing your hardwood floors, of course, that's, I would say, probably without looking at them, it may be worthwhile, but, I would come in and I would give you my honest opinion. For instance, if I came in and said, maybe we should replace the flooring to something else. The great thing about refinishing hardwood floors, you can always like change the color. That's kind of what I had in mind. Like if the color was something that I didn't think was something that people are looking for right now, that's part of refinishing it too, which is wonderful. So in general, just answering that question generally, yes, I do think that would be worthwhile.
Okay. Next question we have: as a buyer, how important is it to get a pre-approval letter before looking around?
It is critical. It's like the number one thing you should do. And you should do that so that you can understand your buying power and the different type of loans that you might qualify for. It's important to understand that because why go see a house that you might fall in love with and yet can't afford to buy?
Mm-hmm.
It wastes everybody's time, including yours. So, as a buyer, to get ready, I think it's critical. And I also think it's critical to shop your lenders and get a great lender that will communicate with you, be there for you, to help you understand, once you are pre-approved, how much it's going to cost you in a mortgage payment for a specific house. Maybe run a worksheet showing you all the taxes and all the costs associated with it. For me, the local lenders that are there to speak with my clients at any time, especially in the market that we've been in. I mean, I have great lenders that we work with that you can contact, on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm saying to do that, but when you're in a competitive market, you want to have that ability to communicate. And I think good lenders are those that are going to educate their buyers and really help them through the process. It's a team. It's a team effort between your realtor, your lender, your financial people. I mean, all of the contractors that you use if you're doing inspections. This is more complicated than people might think.
Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing, and that is when you start out, your lender that you're working with, you've already provided information to them. So we can't submit an offer for you without a pre-approval letter. It's part of the offer, and your offer is going to be stronger the way that letter is worded, that your lender has already done some work on your behalf and has already put in some effort to pre-qualify you. So therefore, if you're competing with other buyers in the market, your offer is going to be above theirs and more likely to get looked at and accepted.
Yeah, and I'll even say this, as a listing agent, when I'm representing sellers, the very first thing that I do when I receive offers is I reach out to the lenders, because I want to understand, the buyer's buying power and financial status. I want to know what's their debt to income ratio, and have you run them through your automated underwriting system, or have you collected additional information? How strong are they? And I want to know about the lender. How quickly can this lender close this loan and process? Do they have their own in-house underwriting staff? So there are a lot of reasons why you want to get pre-approved and work with good lenders.
Right.
Really good point about the ability for a lender to close a loan. I've seen some lenders be able to close loans in a matter of a couple weeks, and sometimes it takes another lender a couple of months to do the same thing. So yeah, a big difference there.
Right.
I want to just touch base briefly and just make a mention to one of our clients that is on our webinar, Audrey, who reached out to us with a specific question for her family. I did want to let Audrey know I did send a chat message to her earlier. That question I did pose to Karen and Donna that you sent me, and it's a very specific question that you sent us and a very good one. Donna and Karen would like to speak to you and reach out to you after the webinar to discuss that matter offline, if it's okay with you. So I started to email that question, that response to you, but didn't have time before the webinar. So you'll hear from Donna and Karen afterwards. So thank you very much for that. All right, we have a few more here, and then looks like we'll get to about 11:15 or so. But please have the questions keep coming in. Next question is, what else does the Platinum program offer?
Well, I mean, the Platinum program basically offers you anything that you need to do to get the home ready for sale, using one project manager to manage any and all contractors to do it. So, what is it that you need done? I mean, is it a major renovation where you have to replace a foundation, or is it electrical issues? Are you just replacing carpet and doing painting? Do you need to update your kitchen and your bathrooms? This Platinum program, as far as getting the home ready, we also have the opportunity to help you with decluttering and organizing, right, Karen? I mean, all the front end things that need to be done with that. But then there's also, I think we have advisors who can help some people who are looking to make a move to maybe an assisted living. So we have resources
Absolutely.
for that. We have WellCare management and companies that can offer support and consult on those family members that may be even wanting to age in place. So there are a lot of resources here, not just for helping you to get ready to sell your home or buy a home, but also maybe just to stay in your home and make modifications so that you can age in place more gracefully, more easily.
Exactly. Yeah. So, Donna and I, we spend a lot of our time as SRESs networking with people in this, that work in healthcare and that can provide these resources, and also the contractors and everything. So we are continually reaching out to our partners and our vendors and keeping that relationship going and making sure that our clients are happy with the last people that we referred to them, making new contacts. And so that's what we do is we are continually adding to the program and making sure that it works as best as it can for you.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, I just had a meeting with an organization. They're partnering to put on, which it sounds amazing, for people that have dementia or or Alzheimer's. They're doing a virtual seminar, I think it is. You show up and you actually get to experience what these people are going through by walking into a room where
Yes.
they have you do 5 different tasks. But
Yes.
I think it's a dark room and there's noise and distractions, and they're trying to let caregivers and family understand better what their loved ones are going through. So it's just amazing to me. I mean, I'm looking forward to doing it just to understand better what people go
Right.
through. But I'm kind of going off track here. Sorry.
It's okay. It's interesting. So a few more here. Hardwood floors versus laminated new floors. Which one is preferred now?
Take that. So there's a new product called luxury vinyl plank, which is awesome. It, looks a lot, and you also may have heard of engineered hardwood flooring too. And typically they are a little bit more durable. I can speak for the luxury vinyl plank because I've done it 3 times in different homes, like my homes. And, they're waterproof. I think they're scratch proof. I don't remember seeing any scratches. People do love them. One thing they like about them is, right now, if you go into model homes, they are doing things that require less maintenance. People, in fact, like one example is they're not putting up as much molding, like chair rails, because people don't want to dust them. So buyers today, they just want easy maintenance. And hardwood floors are classic. You can never go wrong with that. But my advice, if you're looking to replace flooring, between the two, I would pick the most cost-effective one, whichever costs the least, and then I would help you pick out, the one that looks the nicest, the richest, the most expensive. But yeah, if you're selling, it's just really, there's a lot of weight on cosmetic. So if you do everything right and you pick the right materials and you pick the right paint color, that's the key.
Okay.
I think one thing I just want to say is I would try to make whatever flooring you choose consistent throughout your home. Because, I do see where, sometimes, you come into a foyer, it's parquet, and then you go into a living room and it's laminate or luxury vinyl plank. And, when you're mixing mediums, sometimes it doesn't present as well as if you just make it consistent throughout.
100%. So sometimes if you are redoing the whole main floor, I'm going to guess that luxury vinyl plank is going to be cheaper, or that question we had earlier about redoing the hardwood floors, restaining and refinishing. That's another cost-effective option.
Okay. Next question. Are there issues when buying a home out of state?
What do you mean? Or are you talking about an out-of-state buyer trying to buy, like if you're trying to buy a home in the state of Maryland, but you live out of state? Is that what you're
So
stating?
maybe our question poser can allude to that. Okay, so he says, example, selling a home in Colombia and buying a home in Colorado, for example.
And which part specifically is of concern?
I guess any logistical issues. So buying the home in Colorado, for example, any logistical issues, concerns surrounding that whole process.
Okay, I can,
Pre-approval letter, et cetera. He's saying a pre-approval letter, et cetera. I guess that would be a primary thing that he would want to get, for example.
I mean, my first thought is the only tricky thing is if the purchase in Colorado is contingent upon the sale in Colombia.
Right. Does he need to, can he buy before he sells? And, what is his goal? There are a lot of questions in this to ask.
If it's possible to purchase before you sell, it's going to be a whole lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So buying anything with a contingency to sell your home, it's tough in any market. You know, most sellers will look at that if that contingency is in an offer and kind of wait to see what the next one looks like if there's no contingency. Because as you know, your home is contingent on your buyer and who knows what their situation is. So.
Well, plus if you sell your home first, then you have possibly more money to work with, or money to put down on your new home in Colorado. So, it can work in your best interest to maybe, think about how you want to progress. And that's where we can come in too and kind of consult with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
What makes most sense for you?
Yeah, he says he appreciates the response. He didn't realize how important the pre-approval letter was. So says thank you very much.
Awesome.
So looks like our last question here for now is, do realtors today advocate removing all furniture from the home?
Not necessarily. No. And that's, that's again, what I was saying before is as a stager, I will come in, take a look at what you've got, give you advice on what I think might need to be removed and maybe go into a storage unit and what we can work with and what we can keep behind, whether I rearrange it. So definitely not necessarily.
Right.
I think, generally, depending on what everything looks like, people like to see, a house set up with furniture. It is more preferable. I had pointed out the virtual staging that we do in the event that you can't have any furniture in there. And we can do physical staging too. It's just going to cost the seller something, whereas the virtual staging, we don't charge for that. We offer it with all of our listings that happen to be vacant.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Unless there are any other questions, I think we will call this one a success. Thanks for all the great questions. And Donna and Karen, we appreciate your time again for coming back to see us and checking in with us about the changes in the market. I know there's one consistent thing that you do, and is taking great care of clients and being a big part of the community that you serve here in the area. So thank you again for being part of our Elville webinar series. And speaking of that, I'll be sure to send out a follow-up information, as I always do as part of our webinars here at Elville & Associates. As it relates to our presentations tonight, for those that are interested in night presentations saying we don't do enough of them, well, tonight we're doing an estate planning and elder law essentials with Steve Elville. That is in partnership with Timic Financial Group, which we do every 6 months. So if you're interested in signing up, contact me directly and I will direct you in the right place as far as how to get signed up for that 7 p.m. presentation. Then tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we're also doing estate planning and elder law essentials again with Steve at 10 o'clock. So if you just can't get enough of estate planning, you're in the right place. And then on Thursday, we have our popular wellness series with Dr. Michelle Fritsch and Ellen Platt, an aging life care manager. Know your why, purpose and meaning, fulfillment versus busyness. So that's our 12th installment of our wellness series, and we're just so happy with how that has progressed and grown in popularity over the last year or so. So we hope you can join us for those, and we appreciate you being here as part of today's presentation. Thanks again, Donna and Karen. I'll be sure to include their contact information in my email follow-up, and look forward to hosting you again soon on another presentation soon.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
You too.